Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Through Black and White Eyes. Sorry we're a tad bit late there. For some reason, I had computer problems. I could hear one of my very, very, very old shows in my ear. If you remember when we used to do the news show, and I was going to Of the Fox Mutu for boxing updates, and I was like, where the hell is this playing from? I couldn't find it anywhere on the laptop, so I had to shut everything down and restart again. It was just, I hadn't got a clue what was going on. Got Ian in the background. Gary says he's coming soon. I was hoping John and Dan would make it, but they are travelling there today and obviously probably very tired, as I am. Yeah, I'm hanging. But it was an amazing day yesterday, and I can't wait to talk about it. We'll just quickly jump into. I know the result wasn't, but the day was. Please remember to keep comments respectful. No caps, duplicates, super chats are available in the bottom right-hand corner for donations. If you want to donate to the channel, it's 99p a month, guys, to be a member. So please hit that subscribe button. Consider being a member because all the money goes back into the channel, and then all the sponsorship money that we get goes back to you guys in prizes. So the channel runs itself, and then you guys get the money that the sponsorship would normally pay me. And that's £140 a month we give away, which I think is absolutely incredible. And the reason why we can do that is because we have people like Diet Crow who give us a $40 gift card. Code BAZ20 for 20% off as well from all their gear. And the other one is Football Prizes, who give us £100. Check out their website. All the links are below in the description. They do amazing raffles. They just did the last prize. It ended last night. I'm waiting for the next prize of what it's going to be. But amazing stuff. And you get all that money. It's crazy. I don't know why I do it, but I do because I'm nice. Right, let's just quickly go through all the comments very quickly because there's a lot of the whole, hey, yo, yeah, yo, hey, everyone. Hey, Gary. Hey, Chaz. Hey, Leslie. Daniel, thanks for joining me. Good evening. Jules is in the house as well. Nice to see you, Jules. As always, Lee's in the house as well. I'm glad Lee's back. He's been through a bit of a tough time and now he's back modern again. This chance of disgrace, always chasing with MAFS. Good evening, Baz. Good evening, Roger. Great to see you, mate. Chaz says, hey. Jules, Gary, after coming in at 1 a.m., you look pretty good, to be fair, with your update. That was 1 o'clock in the morning. I was fucked. I did all right, though. Yes, I am. Yeah, Barry hanging after. Why would Baz be hanging? He's decorating. Way. I was now decorating the porcelain if I carried on drinking, I can tell you that. I'm blaming Yin for making me drink whiskey. But, I've got to blame someone else other than me. And there he is laughing away. How was it going?
From the strawberry back behind the camera. Just like quick as that.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate.
I loved it.
But the thing is, when it's that good, time flies and you don't get a chance.
It does.
You don't get it. I mean, John was a perfect example. You've got no idea. He's like an absolute celebrity. You're in his presence for 2 seconds and you're talking to him, then he'll just be away, gone. Talk to somebody. But it was brilliant to meet some new people, and it was fantastic. Yes. It was fantastic to see, especially I met your old man as well, and I see your best mate and a couple of your close friends, which was good. But it was nice to meet fans from across the pond, as they say. There was quite a few of them in the strawberry. I was very, very surprised. Yeah, there was loads. But it was really nice to see John and Dan and his missus again from last year, and to see the enthusiasm's getting better from what I see. Yes. Honest, that's for the love of the club. People think that because we've just been took over, there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. Some people have. These people have been here for a long, long time, and you can see why. Honestly, you can see why they've been here for that long, because of the respect that they've got around the ground and just in places that are so well known. It's incredible. It really is.
This is the thing, right? Who's going to spend money when Mike Astley was in charge to fly over from America to watch that football? No one was going to. And the reason why they waited and they've waited and they've waited is because they knew good times would come eventually. Then they've saved up the money and then they're flying over miles. We're talking like 13-hour flights to come and watch a football game and spend a lot of money. And they're so generous as well with their time and everything. It was absolutely crazy.
It's not for the football, mate. They do a lot for the food bank as well.
Of course they do. I mean, John donates every month.
John donates single month of that food bank, which is incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Let's bring Gary in. How's Gary? Good to see you, mate.
Not too bad. I'm all right, you?
Yeah, hanging.
If I jump up, it's because the dog's taking a big steaming shit on the floor. Just ignore us, and I'll be back.
Oh, lovely.
But no, I'm all right, and
Still
sound
not
like
got
he's
a
had a
house
good night.
trained yet.
Yeah, sort of. But when I'm on
Brilliant.
here, he'll just go off and do what he wants, you know. And so
Brilliant.
in the off.
I mean, what a day it was yesterday. I mean, I met up with them 1 o'clock, for 12:30. I met John, and we met at the ground at 1 o'clock. It was meant to be a meeting that got cancelled. I'm not going to tell you what happened afterwards because it's top secret. But a very privileged moment. Really enjoyed myself. And then we got into the strawberry quite early, didn't we? It was I can't remember, but we went upstairs before it was even open and got our pitch seats. It was and we just got very, very drunk. I think my Wi-Fi is playing up for some strange reason. Or was it your guys? Everyone's flashing in and out all the time. It's weird.
I think it's you, Bass, because I can see Ian fine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, it probably is. It wouldn't. There was two of them. Two dinosaurs. Absolutely friggin' brilliant. There's a few stories I want to tell you because there's this guy. I don't know if you can see that or not. So I was very fortunate. I had tickets for Wings. I don't know if any of you have been in Wings before, but it's posh. And I was sitting at the table doing a little video, to do my match prediction. And this guy on a big round table pipes up, goes, "Oi, you!" He's like, I said, "Me?" He's like, "Yeah. I recognise your voice. You do a watch along, don't you?" I was just like, "Yeah." He went, "Oh, I watch you. I'm from Adelaide." I was like, "You're from fucking Australia? What the fuck?" And you know me. What the hell is going on? And I mean, what a gentleman he was. And literally, even though he was sitting inside, he was sitting right behind us at the game as well, which was just mental, absolutely mental. The pictures disappeared. I had more pictures. It always does this, StreamYard. But Jade, sitting right next to me as well, she bought tickets months ago. And then when we got into the ground and I heard it, I was like, "Jade, man, pipe down." And I showed the steward where my ticket was, and it's like right next to it. I was just like, "This is crazy, absolutely crazy." But it was just an absolute fabulous spectacle for us. City are 1-0 up against Villa after 10 minutes. I've got that game on. Yeah, it was Rodrigo. God, honestly, I don't. How many people did we meet in? I mean, we're talking. There was John, there was Dan, there was a San Diego Mags, there was people from California, from New York. I remember walking up the stairs and I heard an accent, and this guy was like, he was looking for somewhere to go. I turned around and went, "American?" And he went, "Yep." I went, "Come with me." He just went, "Why?" I just went, "Just come with me." And I just walked him over to the thing. I went, "Right, there you go, mate. Enjoy yourself." And everyone started talking. He went, "Oh, Jesus, everyone's from America." It was mental. Lindsay came out. It was great to see Lindsay as well, especially with everything that she's going through. And we wish her all the best. There's hopefully some more good news for her. She's going to be interviewed by the BBC again, which is crazy. And hopefully her story can get out and she can get back into St James's Park very soon. I saw an old school friend I hadn't seen when he was in my brother's year. Oh, could be offside, which was mental. Oh, is he? Yes, you're right. But yeah, I mean, John, just every time he turned a corner, I took him to the Monk Seat in Arms, which is my local, and there was this old guy standing at the bar. And I was with my parents. It was my mum's birthday on the 1st of April, and we were just down there having a drink. And John goes to the bar. This guy starts talking to him. And I've been drinking in there since I was like 20. So we're talking like 20 odd years. This guy hasn't got a clue who the fuck I am, but he knows who John is. It's just like, come on. That can't be right. I mean, that guy's been drinking amongst it noms for ages, and so have I, and he's just like, ugh. Yeah, I think my Wi-Fi is playing up tonight. Something for you to look forward to, Gary. Nick, Ian, Gary, yeah, that steaming turd. No, it's you, Baz, frozen. Yeah, it must be me. I don't know why my Wi-Fi does that. It's weird. It's not like I've got the phone on it or anything like that. What was your standout little moment in the pub in beforehand? Any stories did you hear from people that were worth mentioning?
Well,
I mean, John's neighbour was a Newcastle fan before he even knew John, and they were there together. It was crazy.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, when I met you in the Strawberry at 4 o'clock, it wasn't like walking into the Strawberry. It was like walking into a United States of America bar because there was that many.
Yeah.
You know, it was mad. And then as soon as I walked in, it was like, come on, get together. We've got to do this, and then we've got to do this, and get pictures took, and go over there and speak to these, and then we're gonna have a quick pint here, and then we're all gonna go upstairs and take over upstairs. And I'm thinking, I've just come here. It's just like a whirlwind. What the hell's going on, kind of thing. And I didn't get quite to talk to anybody first. It was like, right, let's have a quick photo here with everybody, and then upstairs, and then then we sat down for a little bit, and Lindsay came in, and then John dragged us over, and it was like, yeah, we'll have a quick chat, and then John was gone in 30 seconds, and I was stood by myself again, and then another American came over. It was just, honestly, the time you haven't got enough time in the day for all these people that come over, because just what they do is obviously travel from obviously around the world to watch Newcastle, which is incredible. But the amount of people that know them, that are local around St James's Park, is just ridiculous. And it's just people's walking in, and they're like, "Hey, John, can I have a picture with you? Hey, Dan, can I have a picture with you?" And it's just other people getting pictures took all over you, and you're thinking, God, you know, it's just not a normal match day when you're in there.
No.
In their
For
presence.
them, it's not.
It's not. No. You know, and I mean, obviously, we've been to St James's Park for a lot of years. And, and last season, when I met John and Dan for the Leicester game, and it was brief, and I can see why it was brief. And that's why I've given the most respect last season, was it gives us his time to actually speak, because he knows that many people. He's got to get round that many people, and there's loads of people that I know that John said that he hasn't had a chance to speak to. So even the fan base, he hasn't even getting out to everybody that's been here. So it's remarkable the respect that man's got and Dan's got in his wife, what they do, and I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And it's brilliant that he's on our show, and it's brilliant that he's doing our own thing to try and get it out over there in the. Especially through the show, and I think it'll be an absolute success, because them two blokes and his wife, and what they do, and other fans from across America and all, absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, Tara was just absolutely fabulous as well. She was amazing through the whole thing.
A whirlwind of flat out, non-stop. And when Dan lowers down a little bit, they bounce off each other, so she'll become the leader.
Yeah.
So there was one point where she was drinking a pint and Dan had a half. So now I said to Dan, I goes, "Is she taking your role now, because she's got the pint and you've got the half?" And he says, "I'm tired for a little bit." And then the next breath, she's got the half and he's got the pint and he's taking control. So it's just, you know, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is. And if you haven't heard John and Superfan Dan's story, Barcode Banter, it's in the archives. Go and listen to them, because they're Newcastle fans for a very good reason. They're not one of these ones that the takeover happened, they're over here. It literally, they've been fans for years and years and years. So you need to watch that and learn a little bit about them. Right, that's enough about the reminiscing. I don't want to talk about drink, because it'll come back. So let's get to the lineups.
I like it how I'm getting the game.
Always. As soon as someone mentions shots, then it's you know, that's what. So have a shot, Baz. Yeah, I'll have a JD and cut. No, you'll have a straight whiskey. Okay,
Yeah.
Mate, all right.
You had ice in though, didn't you?
Yeah, I had ice in it. Just
That's a mixer.
It's a mixer. It's a Scottish mixer, that. I love it. Such friendly guys, know what you mean about us. So many people knowing them. They were fantastic with my girls too. Yeah, so they went to the girls, the women's game on the Sunday. They met up Andy, who they've never spoke to Andy before. And Andy reached out to them because they were obviously on the channel and he was in the chat, and he met them. You know, there was no like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you." It was like, "Yeah, Andy, here's my number. Let's meet up." You know, they've got time for absolutely everyone, which makes it even better. Baz tried to win the cup tickets for Spurs game, ended up with 2 instant wins. Nice one, mate. Well done. It's crazy what you can win on that football prizes thing. Shout out to Mikey Wen as well. He was in there, the Strawberry, did his little video and stuff like that. It's amazing who you meet and sort it out. But let's get to the game. Let's talk about the lineup. So this is Everton's. I was quite happy when I didn't see Calvert-Lewin not starting, Harrison also not starting. I mean, we were talking about them all before the start of the game. Coleman didn't start either. The only thing about Everton in that lineup is they were quite a big physical team, aren't they? Which was the only little worry. But I honestly thought we were going to walk through them, to be honest with you. But stranger things have happened. This got us talking a lot, didn't it? So this was on Sky before the game, showing a starting 11 of all the players who were missing. You add Bruno to that team, and you've almost got a starting 11, like a very good starting 11 for us. I mean, Wilson, Isak, you could switch them two out potentially, but everybody else, apart from Shaw, that's literally a starting 11. It's mental. Absolutely mental. I mean, if you were going to change anyone there, you would take Miley out for Bruno, probably Wilson for Isak, and the Sells for Shaw, and then you could play that team.
Well, that was the team, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Tonali, obviously, he's been missing for a little,
If you look at the early stage of the season,
yeah,
that was the team.
Yeah.
I mean,
apart from doing that left back as well, Tino's obviously someone I would still keep in though.
But it's not far. Like I say, it's not far away. Not far away from what was from. Like, so, it just goes to show how crippled we are again. When we just thought we're getting over it after January, we're absolutely crippled again of what's going on.
It's 1-1. Or is the flag up? Nope, it's 1-1. Surprised. Villa have equalised very quickly. Gary, looking at that team, would you agree with the changes? And this is why we're struggling.
I mean, that unavailable 11 is fucking ridiculous, man. Honestly, when you look at that team, that could finish 6th, couldn't it? Quite easy. In this league.
So you add Bruno in then, yeah, because Bruno, we don't win without Bruno, do we?
No, not really. Isak as well, but it's like it's ridiculous how many injuries we've got, man. And sometimes I'm a pain in the arse and I get over the top, but I've had a good think about the injuries the last 24 hours, and I genuinely believe if we had a fully fit team, we are seriously challenging the top 4. And it's beyond, it's like Ian said, that was practically the starting lineup at the start of the season, barring a few people I think Byrne was in and people like that, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. And it's showing, it's starting to show recently just how much it's becoming a bit of an issue, Paul. And mind anybody, it's going to happen to anybody that it's going to affect anybody. I don't care who it is. Man City, yeah, they've got a great squad, but you take De Bruyne, Haaland, Foden, Kyle Walker, you name it, Diaz out of that side, and they're going to have the same issue. They're going to have problems. So I've started to realise, Eddie's got his, people are having to go at him a bit at the minute, but he's performing a bit of a miracle when you think about it. what he's having to do.
I've been saying it for months.
And it's look, it can't happen again. I know this is a different conversation, but it can't happen again. Next season, we need to try and sort this out a bit if we can. I know injuries are part and parcel of the game, but we need to look into this and try to reduce them as much as possible. So,
I do feel sorry for him in a way, though, because everyone says, well, look at his record at Bournemouth and look at his record at Newcastle. The injuries are piling up just like they did at Bournemouth. But you've got to take 4 of the injuries out completely, because dislocated shoulders is not because of training. That's just unlucky. It's how you fall. 2 broken backs. That's not training. That's how you fall and how you land. That's just unfortunate. So 4 of the injuries that were big injuries at the time, Dan Bird, Anderson, Murphy, and Nick Pope obviously still out. That's not because they've been training the players too hard. It's just so unlucky. But the other ones have made it look even worse because they're piling up all the time. It's the ACL injuries I want to know why they keep happening and why they think the player's able to carry on, because they did it with the Cells. The Cells was screaming, and Longstaff said straight away, take him off. But then they said, all right, see if you can run it off. And it was just ludicrous.
They've done that a couple of times this season. I mean, it's happened to Botman as well.
Well, Botman's a different one, isn't it? Because there wasn't a tear, and then there was a tear because he teared it later on, didn't he? But they said that he really should have surgery to stop it, but then he refused surgery and wanted to rest and do it that way. But if you listen to the specialists, he would have been out a long time, but earlier. So
I mean, I think back to a few injuries, like so we had Harvey Barnes, Dan Burn falling on his back, stuff like that.
Barnes was a freak one as well. It was a weird foot injury, wasn't it?
They were freak, like bizarre, strange injuries that didn't happen very often. But it's the injuries for me where we're bringing players on and within 5 minutes they're going off. And that's happened about 3 or 4 times this season. Now, why I cannot understand that one. Are they warming up properly or something? I don't know. I've got no idea. Miggy did it the other day.
Problem.
Miggy did it the other day. Joe Linton did it a few months ago when he came on. 5 minutes later, he went off with a hamstring injury. It's honestly, I've been following the club since '92, 30 plus years. I've seen injury problems, but I have never seen anything like this.
No.
This is next level shit, and it's never ended. And every game I go into now, I'm thinking who's going to get injured. That's what I'm thinking straight away. And I shouldn't be
as soon
thinking
as someone
that,
goes down, you just hold your breath, don't you? Thinking, no, not another one.
Well, funny enough, somebody put on Twitter yesterday, bingo lottery, who's going to get injured next? I put Hall. And then Hall went down 20 minutes in the game, and I'm thinking, yeah, well, God. And I thought, but look, they're part of the game, but not to this extreme.
No.
I mean, I think the only team vaguely close to us, and they're not even anywhere near, was Man United.
Yeah, Man United were the next ones on the list, I think, and they were like 1,000 minutes behind us or something missing from
but they reckon they've got an injury crisis, and it's just like they've got no idea. I mean, I don't know what you used to think about where we're possibly going wrong, but it can look. We've had freak injuries, but there's got to be something not quite right. I haven't got the answers, but something has to be going on somewhere.
I mean, Leslie and a few other people have brought this up on Twitter. I think it could be our pitch, the hardness of it.
Well, that's happened before. I remember when they ripped it up, and
you know the pitches. I think it's 60% plastic, and the rest grass.
I didn't know that.
It's a hybrid pitch.
Right.
That's why it's ripped up every year. So it's because of the stand as well, because of being so high. That's why if you notice in James's Park when you drive past on a night, it's always bright orange because they've got the lamps on.
Got the lamps on, yeah.
But I went to the tour just after Christmas. It's either 60% or 70% plastic and the rest grass.
Right.
And we're not the only club in the country that does that.
Maybe this is why they're getting all their injuries, because of the pitches they're using. Maybe
Lascelles' injury was impact.
Well, that was unlucky, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was impact. And I mean, if you go back to last season when Joe Willock pulled his hamstring, and that was a tear, mind, and you could see he was in absolute pain, and that's required surgery, and that's what took him so long to get back. I just don't know where to point the finger. If I'm totally be honest, because it's easy to point the finger at the medical staff because because obviously they're the ones in the firing line.
Can you point the finger at the players maybe not telling the truth, I guess, or trying to run it off, the
way I'm trying to look at it, Baz, is because when we go back when we had, I think it was 12 fit first team players, and Eddie Howe had a press conference, and he turned around and goes that they're not. He's monitoring the training, and basically what they were doing is they weren't training at full capacity because he was that frightened to train them at full capacity because of the injuries. Yeah. So, but when you're trained when you're playing at elite level of Premier League football, like the Man City and that do on a collective level when they've got a good squad of players, they'll be training at an elite level right the way throughout the week because they've got a good squad. Now, I think if you haven't got that, I think he's been trying to protect them, but in another way, when you're going from a training ground where you're not training at an elite level, but then going into a Saturday and playing at elite level, that's got to take an impact on the way you on your body and stuff. So I can see why we're picking up injuries, but the likes of your ACLs, the likes of your back injuries, and your shoulder injury, you can't. Nick Pope died. That's his job, right? So you can't point your finger at the medical staff for that because that's what happened. Obviously, Jamal Lascelles recently impact. That's what's done him. Harvey Barnes was a little bit of a freak one because we don't know if it was impact or not. Looking back, it was that far. With regarding your target again, when he came out of Manchester United, that was a major hamstring injury, exactly the same as Joe Willock, which required surgery, which is going to be out for a long period of time. The bottom one for me is at a professional club and at a professional level, if you've done an injury such as an ACL, or it doesn't matter what kind of damage it is to the ACL, to me, the club should overpower the player at all costs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If you need surgery, you are going for surgery for the long-term future of your career and certainly the long-term career of Newcastle United. So that's, for me, the bottom one. If he's been playing with that, he shouldn't have been allowed to play for months because we could all see his performance levels dropped right off.
I agree.
But Callum Wilson, again, that's Callum Wilson. We'll kind of accept that. Do you know what I mean? But the major injuries for me, I don't think you can point at the medical staff. I think they've been very unlucky. But like I'm with you guys. It's mind baffling. It really is. I mean, I'm with you, Baz, and all. I mean, we've all spoken about this. We always say this cannot go on, but it does keep going on. And we're not the only ones sitting in that ground or sitting at home watching a football game, praying that the next tackle or praying that the next run doesn't end up in an injury. And then people's pointing at Eddie Howe and this. How do you think Eddie Howe feels? He's trying to do his job for our club, right, to make it the best we possibly can. Do you not think he's absolutely petrified, or he wants to push his players to that next level and he can't because people aren't available? You know, and I keep saying it, man. I mean, that player that's training nearly every other day, he's going to be one of the best midfielders, I believe, in the Premier League in years to come. Tonali, you can't play him, you know, and that's without an injury. But just I think it's a bit of an acceptance at the minute where these injuries, because we've had them for a long period of time, we're going, yeah, that's another injury, but we'll get over it. We'll just get together and But do we know the answer? Is definitely not. It's frustrating, and like Hall last night. Does anybody know why he went off? Because I certainly don't.
No one does. A lot of people have been saying it was fatigue. And that just shows you maybe that's the reason why Eddie hasn't been playing them, because he hasn't been training enough or training well enough, and he's not fully fit to play 90 minutes to the standard that he needs him to play at. But
this is what I'm saying though, Baz, right? So this is what I tried to say before, is if you're playing at elite level, you've got to train at elite level. So this kid hasn't played since October. So he's come in at a game.
That as well.
Don't get me wrong, mind. You think we're only playing Everton home, or this, that, the other, had so much possession, or had this, that, the other. A lot of the game last night, he played on the front foot, and he done well, by the way. And he done well. He done well when he came on Saturday. But when you're at that level, and then obviously you'll go, you know, you just your body. If it's only fatigue, thank God, because then we know he'll be available for Fulham. Your body will react that you've never been reacted before. There's different training when you're playing in front of 52,000 as well. Given your all, fair play if he's only went off with fatigue. If he's give us all,
I think he might have got a bit of a windness maybe in his ribs. He got a bit of a knock, and you could see he was holding. So I don't know.
If he's given our mate full throttle, fair play to him, and you can't ask for anything more.
No, you can't. This is how we lined up. I was very happy with the lineup. The only one I was a bit gutted about was Willock, because I would have had Longstaff out and Willock in.
Yeah.
But everything else, I mean, I was hoping Trippier was going to make it, but he didn't. But, I mean, there's nothing else really to pick from, is there? You look at the bench. I mean, Willock obviously couldn't play 90 minutes, and that's why he was on the bench, but you wouldn't start anybody else. So it was pretty much, that team had to go out and win the game, didn't they, the other night? And obviously we didn't. So we'll talk about the action. I mean, we huffed and puffed quite a lot. We created some great chances. And unfortunately, the dinosaur in the crowd kind of spurred on Pickford this time. I think he's learned his lesson, because he got man of the match, and I think he deserved man of the match, to be fair. He pulled off some unbelievable saves. The one-on-one, which he saved with his chest. There was one from Isak, which he tipped over the bar, or did he not? And then Isak has one off the line as well, which he should have scored. The goal was brilliant, right in front of us, how Isak took that goal. But I don't know. But I mean, was it just Pickford, or was there something missing last night from us going forward? Because the chances we created, our XG was something like 3 or 4, and we only managed to put one away. Murphy had a volley which Pickford saved really well. I saw a stat, right, and I want to talk about this on a different show, but it showed Bruno's stats for the whole season so far. Bruno wants to play further forward, and he has been playing further forward, but he's only got 5 assists and 3 goals. That, if he wants to play further forward, he's got to double those figures. And is that what we're missing? Someone from that midfield three to step up and score a winner every now and again, do something special, which Bruno has done this season, but I don't think he's doing it enough. Would you agree with that, Ian?
Well, I'll defend. I'm glad you said that, because I noticed last night, when we were in forward areas, if the movement doesn't come from Isak, it doesn't come from anybody. How many, there's not many times a winger comes from out in when a midfielder's got the ball to change it up, or just to do stuff. And we were at times where the crowd got a little bit frustrated last night, because our build-up play sometimes was slow. But I thought Bruno was exceptional last night.
I thought he was brilliant. And the way he tried to drive us forward, the way he kept the ball, but we need someone to start contributing majorly from that midfield three.
I think. I mean, people questioned me the other week where this rumor came about with Bruno going to Man City for 100 million, right? And then he can't play in a Man City team. And I don't normally watch England, but I watched England versus Brazil, right? And I watched Bruno around top world-class players, and he was top man for Brazil. So he can play at the elite level with top world-class players. Now, I just think sometimes we lack that world-class ability in front of him. We've got Isak, and I mean, he's just a world-class striker. And I just think patience. We've got to be patient. If we bring the right players in, I think that'll happen, mind, if Bruno goes up. I think that, because there's not many players in the Premier League where they can, when they're in them final areas, they can play that ball in between centre halves and full backs to create something. And Bruno, if you notice, he looks to do that on a lot.
Is it because he's got Murphy on the right wing, who doesn't have the intelligence maybe to... I mean, Miggy obviously makes the runs all the time for Bruno to try and find him, and then creates extra space for maybe Trippier or someone like that on the right side. When Murphy's playing, I think that lacks a little bit.
I think you just answered your own question there without even us answering that, because I don't want to be too critical of the players we've got. That's the thing. We've got.
Just figuring, when you're putting teams away, you need other players to step up and score. Obviously, Bonds and Isak, the only 2 scorers out of 4 goals last week.
Yeah,
we don't share the goals around as much as it's what a Man City team would do. You look at a Man City team, you look at their front six, and you go, any one of them is going to score tonight.
Yeah, I mean, people. I mean, we were talking after the game last night, and people said Barnes had a quiet game. Now, when I've watched
got the assist as well, didn't he?
I've watched the highlights back today, and I've watched the highlights on Newcastle United as well. Barnes was at the heart of nearly every chance we created. Right, so and the way he got past players and the first chance on 2 minutes. I mean, what I thought was a fantastic save from Pickford made.
Yeah, it was.
And and Barnes has just come back from an injury as well, but he was going past his defenders and he was getting balls into the box, and I thought he'd done all right last night. But again, with Bruno, I just I love him in that just central midfielding role. Not a six, but just probing about, like just having like a free role in there. And if you had the security of a top six in behind him, I just think you'd get the best of him. Yeah, I think it would get even better, which I've said before. I came away from there frustrated last night, right? And it just because of
I think we all were deflated, weren't we?
Yeah, but when I've looked back at the game, mate, do you know what it is? We put in a decent performance last night.
Yeah, we did.
The first half we were totally dominant. Second half, in spells, we were dominant.
So the first 20 minutes,
yeah,
thought we were going to run away with them. There was the offside goal, which was tight as a fanny.
Very tight. And I mean, they made a few changes which kind of helped them in a way. And then that kid cut inside and hit off the post, and they got a little bit of a lift. But I never thought the game was ever going to get away from us. I thought we were going to win 1-0. But I said before in the strawberry bars, people going, we're going to win 4-1, we're going to win 5-1. I said 1-1. It's Everton at home. It's never ever easy. It's just one of them ones where if you can, everybody expects us to win them, and it just doesn't happen.
No, football's not like that. Not played on paper, is it?
I mean,
everyone's expecting City to walk all over Villa, and that's 1-1 at the moment with 40 minutes gone. So it just shows you. Gary, what do you make of it all? I mean, like I say, we are putting out a makeshift team. I mean, Murphy wouldn't make anyone start an 11 at all if everyone's fit, because we'd probably have Gordon and Barnes on the wings now, and then you're probably looking at bringing Miggy on and Murphy being a bit part player potentially. But we do seem to struggle to put teams away at the moment.
Yeah. Regarding Bruno as well, I think Bruno's... You look at last season when Bruno was scoring goals and he was an assist, he had better players next to him. And right now, I'm telling you now, Joe Willock's not right for me. There's something not right. And whether he needs something done or some minor surgery or something, he hasn't been right since the minute he come back for me. And hence why he didn't start yesterday. And when he come on, still doesn't look right for me. Longstaff is miles off it. Miles.
But again, he's apparently taking injections as well. Then you've also got Willock, like you said, he's not up to speed. The problem is, if you take them out of the team, would you rather have an 80% Sean Longstaff and Willock, or have a youngster put in? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because
it's a tough one, because right now, if we've got a fully fit team, Sean Longstaff is bottom of the list.
Yeah.
With the midfielders, he is bottom on performance, on whatever's happening right now. He doesn't get in ahead of Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno, Willock, Miley, you name it. He doesn't.
Miley, I was going to say, he doesn't.
And I think a lot of people... I mean, Gordon was I agree with you. I thought Barnes at times, I thought Barnes was, especially the first 30 minutes, was a big threat. And I just think as the game went on, you've got to remember, Barnes hasn't played much football recently, so he was going to tire a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with him. But I thought Barnes had a really good game. But you could see, and this is not against Barnes, Gordon being out yesterday was a huge, huge miss.
Mm-hmm.
Because Gordon would have destroyed
2 seconds. I just want to say something. Right. Head injury for Villa. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Referee hasn't given a free kick. Man City's gone on the attack. The referee's pulled it back to have a look to see if he was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, back to Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know it well. Inconsistent bollocks week in, week out, isn't it? And
it is.
It's
back to Bonds. Back to Bonds, mate.
But it's like, I think if you put Joe Linton and Tonali next to Bruno, you're going to get more goals from Bruno. I think Bruno is literally running that midfield at the minute by himself.
Have you not noticed when Bruno's shooting from distance, so he doesn't seem to have that like Sabozlia kind of power behind him? And I find that I don't think he's going to score that many from distance.
I don't think it's his game. I think that's why they wanted Maddison in the summer. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen. And look, if rumours are true that they're looking at Morgan Gibbs-White, that may explain why they want him. Because he will get you assists and goals. And from what I've heard from Eddie and what he keeps saying, is he wants Bruno to play midfield 6, whatever it is. That's where he thinks Bruno's best position is. And I haven't thought he has been, but Eddie knows better than me.
I'll ask you a question here, though. With the Morgan Gibbs-White, right? If Morgan Gibbs-White signs for this football club, what kind of formation does Newcastle United play with Tonali, Joe Linton, Bruno, Gibbs-White?
True.
Look, it's one. I think from what I mean, I didn't know this. But apparently Morgan Gibbs-White has played on the wing for Forest. I wasn't aware of it, right? So maybe he's bringing him in to play on the right or something like that. I've got no idea. Morgan Gibbs-White, I think, is a fantastic footballer. Is he what we need right now? Probably not, no, because we need a 6. I think we need that frigging hard man in the middle of the park. When Joe Linton isn't there.
Honestly, I think we need 2 centre-backs, a goalkeeper and a striker. I think that's our budget gone.
This is what we said last night.
Well, right now, because of injuries to 2 key
because of injuries and the way things will be.
They've had to change whatever plans they had.
And I think
that's coming.
Goalkeeper in as well.
And I think a midfielder, because we went through the list of all our midfielders, and I looked at it and went, you know what it is? If we had everyone fully fit, and Morgan Gibbs-White doesn't get in that team, the only one you could critically really look at is a right winger, because you'd have to move Gordon over there when Gordon's best position is potentially the left, but that's the same as Barnes. So, to fit them in the team, you've got to play one-on-one either side. But then you look at the midfield three, you've got Bruno, Tonali, you've got Joe Linton, Willock, Miley, Sean Longstaff. You've got 6 players fighting for 3 positions. And then on the wings, you've got Murphy, Miggy, Barnes, and Gordon, 4 players fighting for 2 positions.
I think Sean Longstaff may be sold in the summer.
Oh, Foden's just scored.
But then again, you've still got
5 fighting for 3, haven't you? Because, I mean, Miley's going to step up. Then you've also got Mente and who's another one? That's Alfie Harrison to come into it. It was meant to be a big thing. One of them could probably fit in on the right wing and save us a lot of money. And that's why I think we will potentially bring Mente back, don't put him out on loan, see if he can fit into that right-hand side position, and then strengthen in 2 centre-backs, a striker and a goalkeeper. I think that's why we'd do that. Only because we're struggling in those positions.
I think I don't know what Eddie's plans are for Menta, but if he thinks he's ready for next season, he will be at Newcastle next season. Exactly.
In the Champions League, so he's got to be.
I mean, his stats recently, I think 4 goals, 3 assists or something.
Top 4 in Europe.
Yeah, and I think he was top of the league for something like
most chances created. Most chances created in a Premier League, in a Champions League game, wasn't it, or something stupid like that?
So he saves money on a right winger.
But I've seen that he made it different. Yeah.
But I think, I mean, after what's happened with Botman and Lascelles, this summer window it's going to be, apart from, we need a striker, right? Because Callum Wilson,
I think Wilson will be gone.
Yeah, so do I. I think Wilson's gone, and I think Isak needs help. He cannot play the full season by himself, right? So we need a striker. Somebody maybe who could go on the wing at times, like Gordon can. Switch, whatever.
I don't understand how that would save us money. Lloyd Kelly won't save us money. We've got Tino and Trippier right back, and then we've got. I think Lewis Hall will be our left back next season.
I can't see that, mate.
I'm going off Lloyd Kelly, and it's not because I don't think he's a good player. I've seen his injury record, and it's horrendous. And we are not the best at the minute regarding injuries, so we'll probably not see the bloke. But it's blatantly obvious now that they're going to have to concentrate defensively. Ian's right, mind. I think they're moving for a goalkeeper because I don't know how much. Look, this might be controversial, but I am really struggling with Dubravka at the minute.
I think a lot of us are.
But I think coming off his line, he's friggin' atrocious. There was a chance for Tarkowski yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I still don't know why. Schmeichel takes him out in the 90s.
Yeah.
Takes him out. And I think, I don't know, I don't think he fills the defence with any confidence either, the way he goes, the way he comes. Pope comes off his line like 10 times quicker than what he does. But the problem with Pope is Pope's now suffered the same injury twice. So there's always that risk with him. It's a horrendous injury for a goalkeeper. And I think we're going to move for a goalkeeper in the summer, but I always thought it would be a backup to Pope. I'm starting to think now, is it going to be
the other way around?
The other way around. And I think they might be going to throw a lot of money at a goalkeeper. And but I think the defence as well. I think they're going defensively this summer, and it's been changed massively because of the injuries.
I think you might be going for him at Palace, mate. I really do.
Anderson.
Yeah.
Centre back.
I just think budget wise and what we can do for financial fair play to keep us under the restrictions to get a player that can come in, be ready at Premier League level, and I think he's a decent player as well, and he's a captain as well. So I think someone along the lines of that, and he's a fan of him as well. The Lloyd Kelly one for me, because obviously left side, I just don't get that.
I think Lewis Hall's playing now is going to be our left back. I think he's proven himself. He's going to do the. I think Ramsdale will probably cost too much, and I don't know. He's prone to mistakes, isn't he?
I don't get that link, man. Ramsdale. I'm not saying he's a bad goalkeeper, but
I think that just could be an agent push.
Could be
there because he'd be frustrated not being playing. So just be an agent.
Arsenal will try and rinse us for a fortune for him. They
1,000,000%.
will try and rinse us. It makes no sense.
Or deal or something stupid like that.
Yeah, it's like it makes no sense. I cannot see Ramsdale happening at all. I can see the other guy happening, who I'm not going to pronounce, but I can see him. Yeah.
That was in the comments. That one.
Yeah.
Who's that? Pickford.
No, I'm not with that. Because I mean, I think they've had scouts there, haven't they? I think scouts have been seen at them games. So, but
do you know what? Defensive Pickford last night.
He was brilliant last night, and I hate to say it, but his distribution was fantastic. His saves are fantastic. I just would not want to see him in at Newcastle.
Do you know what it is? And he's been played to play that way. I know he likes kicking through the ball and that, but right, and everybody's just saying he was just kicking it as long and high as possible. He didn't. Do you know what it is? He kicked that in areas at all times where would put us under pressure, or he slipped over a few times, but that ball still went.
I remember one when he slipped over and all the crowd were like, "Oh, why are you doing that? That ball is fantastic. You haven't even watched it land yet."
It was pinpoint on it.
Shit, and I was just like, "My God, he's through."
You know, and we hate him, but he is a top goalkeeper, like.
He is,
and
he doesn't like us. I can't see him ever want to.
He would we wouldn't have him. The crowd will take him, but but he wouldn't come here. There's
No.
absolutely no chance. He can't fucking stand with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally can't stand with.
All I wasn't saying was should sign him. What I was saying on defence of him last night. I thought
very well.
He was top draw last night.
He was.
Well, as I said, if Pope had his distribution, we've got probably a friggin' world-class
goalkeeper, yeah.
And
the thing is, though, Gary, right? Everybody was so critical of him last year, right?
Yeah.
It just goes to show, mind, how much we've missed him. And the defensive record, whatever you put in stats, is what Eddie Howe comes through. He's absolutely fanatic about it, right? And obsessed about it. With Nick Pope in that team, with Trippier, Shaw, Botman, and Byrne, we had the best defensive record in the country, and that is why. And he's a massive miss for us, Nick Pope. Yeah. And that little example, what you said earlier on is, we didn't even have a high line, right? And they put a ball into the box, and Nick Pope would have stood there and collected it.
Yeah, not him.
Tarkowski put a header. He should have scored. That's the difference. He headed it 4 yards out.
How can your goalkeeper not come out in the 6-yard box?
Why wasn't the
goalkeeper? How can he struggle?
Why wasn't the goalkeeper not pushing his line higher up, right, to the penalty spot, so it gives him a chance to come and get to do something like that?
I've said this like on the group. One of the stupidest things I said was Nick Pope and last season, and we needed to upgrade and stuff. And then I realised
I think we all said that. I said that as well.
Yeah. And this season, I'd love to see how many of them he would have saved that Dubravka's let in time and time and again. And you know what it is? I was thinking, does he save that shot at the weekend? Did Pope save the penalty last night? And it's all ifs and buts. I don't know, right? But there's still a possibility that Pope saves these chances that Dubravka's letting in. Even on international duty, he was letting them in within 5 seconds.
That wasn't his fault. I mean, that was a good finish. I watched that goal.
Was it? I haven't seen it. But the Forest goals, and I think myself,
Luton.
Pope saves them. And Luton, that was it. Luton as well. And Dubravka lets shots in when it's not even in the corner of the goal. He lets them in near the middle and all. It's just, honestly, Pope has been probably he's up there near the top for the biggest miss injury-wise, mate. Because friggin' horrendous.
With a situation, what I think about as a goalkeeper is, a goalkeeper's presence in a football match can get you 3 points to 6 points a season, easy. Look at Peter Schmeichel. I would think because he was in that goal, like attackers wouldn't go into certain areas because they know he would come through. And I think Nick Pope's in that bracket because it changes the dimension of a game where instead of them go like a Sean Dyche last night would probably say, do you know what it is? Put them balls onto him because he's not that confident in doing stuff around his own area. Where if Nick Pope was there, you float that up to him. He's 6'7".
He's sticking them all the time, yeah.
So it changes the dimension of the way people play. It was the same when DeAndre Yedlin played at our club. People just put it over the top of him because he couldn't defend. They would go at DeAndre Yedlin because he couldn't defend. And Dan Burns been made a scapegoat. They would put every club now, I think, has got a rapid player on the right-hand side. So Dan Burns been targeted. So they just go and we'll do this. Nick Pope, it changes that where, like I've said, it's a presence in that goal where if he's going to come out, you think, Jesus Christ, he's a big lad. He's going to, it gives forwards mindset to think, what the hell's in behind me? And I think on Nick Pope's defence as well is there's times where he's that sweeper. I know he can't use his feet, but he'd come out and he'd clear it and put it into row Z and then get back. It's not very often. I mean, Dubravka came out last night and headed the ball. I nearly shit my pants when he done that. I know he headed it to Lewis Hall on the left-hand side.
Really, to be fair, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, Nick Pope's very good at coming out and doing that kind of stuff. So when your goalkeeper's that good at doing that, it allows your defenders to get that 10 yards up the pitch because you can be more braver to get up the pitch. And sometimes I think them little holes in behind our midfielders where we're getting we're on the counter attack. Sometimes our defence might have been that little bit higher up. simply because you've got the security of Nick Pope in behind. With Dubravka, I think it doesn't give us that security. You know,
defense shit yourself because of.
Do you know, if you look at Man City and you look at Liverpool, they've got a sweeper in behind them with Edison and the one at Liverpool as well. They'll get that ball, Alisson, when you know, they're content to play. But if you look where they play the ball at, the 10 yards in front of the 18-yard box, as a sweeper would play, that's your goalkeeper. So if you imagine your goalkeeper being that high up, it naturally takes your defence high up and naturally pushes your midfielder high up, and you're automatically pressing a team even without the football. So, you know, it's, well, if you've got a goalkeeper sitting so deep that you haven't got the confidence in, and as well as when you've got Lascelles coming in, who's not the best ball player in the world, you know, we had Trippier, Shaw, Botman. And you know how people say if Burn can't play? He can play. He plays to his strengths, you know what I mean? And plays, it's the balance that goes along with that. You can see where I think a goalkeeper is critical, what we need to do. You know, and it's,
who was it? Who was it? I heard on saying the other day the goalkeeper's the most important player on the football field, and I can't remember who said it. It was a pundit, and he was going on about Nick Pope, and it was the injury and all that, and he was saying, "Look, Newcastle do not let that many goals in if Nick Pope's in that goal, and it's not just because he's a good goalkeeper; it's everything else." And it's, look, not everything's his fault, but I tell you what, it's no coincidence to me that when Nick Pope got injured against Man United, I think we were second in the league for the most clean sheets or best defence or something.
Yeah.
Now we're second bottom. Now we're second bottom.
And what you're saying there, Gaz, is about the goalkeeper. Peter Schmeichel said, Peter Schmeichel said, I didn't have to make many saves because I put my defence in the right areas to prevent all them attacks coming to me. So I didn't have to make a save. That's what a good, and that's what him at Man City will do and him at Liverpool will do, because he's got that much confidence of ball players in front of him that they don't have to make saves. And a lot of the time when they're making saves, it's because the balls are coming at the feet and have to do a sweep job. You know, and when they come to do stuff with their hands, they're just absolutely exceptional. And that's, you know, I just think Nick Pope has been a massive miss for us. As much as we've missed top players in other departments, the goalkeeping situation for me has been massive this season, and in the stats say that.
Yeah, I agree. We've got to talk about the unfortunate situation of the equaliser because we haven't covered that yet. One thing I am very disappointed with is that all the fans on Twitter going absolutely off it about it, tagging Dummett in things, saying, I hope you never play for the club again, blah, 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 blah. Yes, he made a mistake. And it was a terrible mistake because, let's face it, he's headlocked him to the ground in WWE fashion. Dubravka's clearly caught the ball and the Everton player's never going to get near it. So there was no need for him to even do it. But it's frustrating, but to react the way they do, I'm embarrassed because, you know, we are very fortunate in this day and age, obviously the ages we are. We could never get near players when we were younger. You know, we didn't have social media and being able to message them whenever we want to and say what we want. It was all done in a pub. It was all done on a chat and it was all done with mates. Players wouldn't hear it. And for people to tag them in and saying, you know, you're an absolute disgrace to the football club. This is the worst. You know, someone even said this has ruined the whole season. I was like, what? That one challenge has spoiled our whole season. I mean, come on, there's been a hell of a lot of other stuff that's gone on beforehand. It's disappointing, Ian. And it just shows you the ugly side of what, you know, Twitter is, really, doesn't it, when it comes to our fan base?
I mean, I thought he should have brought Richie on, to be honest.
Yeah, a few people have said that, and I'm guessing it was a toss of a coin.
The reason why I thought you should have brought Richie on for is simply because I think he's got more fitness in his legs. He'd play that role better than Paul Dummett. He's played again more than Paul Dummett.
Left back. He's played left back before as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so it's just for me, I just think it was a strange substitution to bring him on.
He got such a reception as well.
That's what we said last night. Do you know what it is? He got such a reception to come on, but me personally, I felt that quite embarrassing, just because it was kind of because we were winning. It was like a laughing kind of thing to go, oh yeah, we're bringing Paul Dummett and start singing his song. Richie's staying for 10 more years, dub it on the overlap. I'm thinking, how? Come on, man. Let's just think of what should it. He shouldn't have been on that football pitch to make that decision, you know. But I can see why Paul Dummett's done that, right? And I just thought
I can't see why he's done it, especially when the flight of the ball.
And you can't. Do you know what it is? Before VAR, that's.
Well, someone put quite a funny tweet out that said, "Let's give Paul Dummett a break. The last time he played football, there was no such thing as VAR.
No such thing as VAR." So my point, exactly what I'm just about to say here is, do you know before VAR, people would have said, "Great defending, Paul Dummett." By the way, you know, because he could have come in and scored a header or whatever. Clever defending brought him down, right? This is where football's changed now, and I just think of Matt Ritchie's head, because I think he's more professional the way he does things. I just don't think he would have done that.
I agree.
To get on with the comments and everything, I just think it's. Do you know, it's just what this is now. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we came away from that football ground last night frustrated. Did I blame Paul Dummett? Nah. Did I blame the chances that were missed? Poor. You can point your finger at so many things where Isak's chance, you know what it is? Again, when Harvey Barnes was into it, like you said, people had a quiet game. He beat the defender great. Pulled the one back to Harvey Barnes where he's blasted it at the bottom and hit Mikalenko on the line. Do you know what I mean? And little things where we could have done better or had good chances. I just think it was, do you know, they've made Paul Dummett.
There's more reasons why we didn't win that football game. It's not just because of Paul Dummett's mistake. Like I said, there's chances we missed.
Do you know, I just think they've deflected away the chances that were missed and made Paul Dummett a scapegoat. And to say that's the worst decision he's ever made at the football club, never ever to put the shirt on again. I've seen Paul Dummett, and we've all seen Paul Dummett play for a lot of years when we've had good times, mind, right? And we've had shit times. And he was the ones that stuck his chest out. And he would want that tackle at the end of a box where he'd run 30 yards to recover and he'd put someone in the stands. Do you know what I mean? Because he's home-blooded. And to say because he's made one mistake, he should never play football. Not in my eyes. He's done enough.
Some important goals for us as well, hasn't he? I remember Man United 3-3 equaliser. He scored against Liverpool at home as well. You know, he's obviously. I mean, let's face it. If we had everyone fit, Paul Dummett wouldn't even have a contract.
Oh, of course.
But this is the situation we're in, and it's to blame him. It's wrong.
He's done enough for this football club. Do you know? Some of these people that will be calling him weren't even born before Paul Dummett. Do you know what I mean? It's for me, Paul Dummett. His name at this football club will last for a long time, and he deserves credit for what he's done for this club. And to say because he's made one mistake, he shouldn't be doing this. It's bullshit to me. Like,
stupid. Very short memory. Some people though, don't they? What do you think, Gary?
I was on one a bit last night, but that's the way I am, and then I calm down and think about things and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you do it in a private group, or you do it with friends.
I do it in a private group.
You don't go and tag Paul Dummett in a comment and say that was absolutely shocking and you should be slaughtered for it and never play for the club again and all this sort of stuff.
I'll never slate anybody online. I'll never fully slate somebody on here because they are brilliant footballers, and I'm telling them they're crap. Compared to me, they are brilliant footballers. You know what I mean? Some of them. And how can I have a go at somebody's ability when I'm shite at football? Right? So, the one thing I will say is Paul Dummett should have left this club a long time ago, but he didn't. I agree with Ian 100%. Richie should have come on the pitch. He played at left back under Rafa. He played there a few times. Richie has got more about him than Paul Dummett has right now. Paul Dummett's had
he's more of a left centre back now,
injury after injury. And he's 33 now, so injuries will have kicked in even more by now, even though he's not playing. And I just look that. Did he get a penalty if Dummett comes on the pitch? No idea. It's all guessing games, right? But if you're blaming Dummett, you've got to blame Eddie for bringing him on in the first place.
Yeah,
you can't not blame
he made
Eddie
the decision, didn't he?
and just blame Dummett. He's made the decision. He could have brought Alex Murphy on. He could have brought Matt Ritchie on. Both of them would have been better choices than Paul Dummett, right?
Yeah. Considering
But
Alex Murphy
Eddie
looked really good in
decision.
pre-season as well, didn't he? So
yeah, well, look, I'm not saying Murphy's. I don't know if Murphy's going to be a future defender at this football club. I've got no idea. I'm just going off on. They've bought him during the takeover era, so they think he's a good player. He had a good pre-season, and I'm telling you now, that lad must be quicker than Paul Dummett is. He has to be, right? If he isn't, he might as well just give up playing football. But I just, if you blame Dummett that much, you've got to blame Eddie, and it's ridiculous.
You only blamed them because we ended up drawing 1-1. If we won the game 2-1, we would have said, "Oh my God, you see that what Paul Dummett did? That was terrible." But we wouldn't be going off it the way they're going about it. It's because we've dropped 2 points. It's because he's done what he's done. But there's the way to go about it, isn't there?
Yeah.
It wasn't just his penalty. It was little things when he was
very
getting the
slow,
ball and he wasn't moving. Yeah. And I was watching when he was moving. I was thinking, "Friggin' hell, my wife's quicker than him." And it's like, and you can tell look. I know he had a good game against Man City, but Joe Linton had probably one of his best games in a Newcastle shirt, and that probably helped the whole team as well. But it honestly is. Look, thank you, Paul, for everything you've done in the past and things like that. But it's time, honestly. And he's not the only one, man. There's a few of them, the Jeff Hendricks and Hayden's, and Hayden's done.
I thought Hendrick had gone now.
No,
I've got no. He's
still
here.
on the books.
Yeah, he's still.
He's on loan, isn't he? It's his last season, and his contract runs out, doesn't it? So
yeah, and this is the summer we've got to get rid of them. They've got to go in the summer. We need, if we have another crisis like this, we need to rely on players like, say, who can I use as an example? Look, Kraft's not the best player I've ever seen in my life, but he can come in and do a job. It's an all right job. It's not spectacular, but it's a better job than Hendrick and friggin' Dummett can do and stuff like that. And which is, and if the youngsters we've got need to come in for 10 minutes, then that's what they're going to have to do. We've signed them to do this. We're not expecting them to play 90 minutes a game and come in and be stars in the Premier League. Surely Alex Murphy can come in and do something for 5 minutes against Everton. Everton were one of the worst sides I've ever seen at St James's Park.
I wouldn't say ever.
Horrendous side.
Horrendous side. I mean, I've seen a 0-0 Stoke back in the day, and they were horrendous. But
who, sorry?
I've seen a 0-0 against Stoke at home when Hostler was playing for us, and Stoke were the worst I've ever seen in my life at St James. But I'll just a quick one there about the young one, right? And just to, I mean, there was a question asked to me last night. It was about Isaac Hayden actually, and now.
Yeah, could he have done his job?
Now, we've had Joe White nearly on that bench now, I would say since January now. And right, and now we're bringing in, you know what I'm going to say here is, because we recalled Joe White from, I can't remember, was it Leyton Orient or anyway, it was a smaller club. Surely an Isaac Hayden that's played in the Premier League, that would have done a good job for us to strengthen our squad till the end of the season. Now, and if you look at that bench last night, and you needed something with a little bit of grit that can put a tackle in and to see us through, when you're looking at the bench, you could only bring Joe Willock on, and then you look at the bench and then you bring a Paul Dummett on. Now, if you've had an Isaac Hayden on the bench there, you'd look and go, do you know what it is? We've got a little bit of strength here.
Do you know what I'm going to say, though, about that, though? Isn't the reason why they got rid of Hayden and Hendrick and people like that was to get the wages down? to get
Yeah.
under PSR or FFP. So if you brung Hayden back,
Isaac,
I mean, what would Joe be? Joe would be what, $5,000 a week?
right? But
If you brung Hayden back,
Isaac
it's 50
Hayden's
grand
on
a
our
week.
books. We're still paying his wages.
No, there'll be a deal. It all depends on how much the other club's paying. There'll be something they've done to balance the books. I think that's one of the reasons why he went.
You know what I'm trying to say though, but
And I get what you're saying. It's whether I would completely agree with you, but we don't know the book side of things and the wages and that from a footballing term, purely footballing term. I would have liked to have seen Hayden on the bench, and I would have liked to have seen him given a chance when all these injuries were happening ages ago. But I honestly think it's all down to wages and balancing the books. I think that's the reason why.
See, I'm not saying the likes of Ryan Fraser and
Oh
Jeff
God,
Hendrick.
his wages as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ray Fraser's on 75 grand a week, but like the likes of Fraser and Hendricks, they went out on sour notes, right? But Isaac Hayden,
Didn't know.
What we've heard didn't. So do you know what I mean? It was kind of, for me, it was just a little bit of a brain one where, yes, like what Baz, like you said there, Baz, is for footballing purposes. I just think for strength going forward at the end of the season, I just think he could have helped us.
I agree.
Just at the end, and then just say, look, thanks very much, and then go on to your passages. You know what I mean?
Out of all of the ones who I want rid of in the summer, he is the one that I would put at the top as, yeah, I can stomach you for 6 months.
Yeah.
I remember at the time saying, did we keep him? Because we did have a crisis at the time, and I thought, and then he went.
I thought we should have. It felt like a no-brainer keeping him, but I've got a feeling it's got to do with wages. It really does.
I'm sure we mentioned it in the show the other time.
We did.
I remember talking about it, and
Gaz as well, especially when you lose somebody as the presence of Joe Linton. We've lost that grit.
Yeah.
You know, and as much as Hayden's ability at times lacked, what he didn't lack, mine, he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he would give you that determination. And do you know what? He would give you all like.
I think what people forgot with Hayden is as well, when you compare Richie and Dummett and Hendrick and whoever, they're not playing regular football. Hayden was playing regular football.
Totally agree.
Belgium or
It was a
wherever
bad knee injury, wasn't it? And whether he lost a lot of pace because of that knee injury, we don't see the side of things of training. But I mean, surely it's a no-brainer.
It was. I mean, he was always going to go this summer, but if you're keeping people like Dummett around, why didn't you just keep him?
Yeah.
And he's not the answer. Of course, he's bloody not. But God Almighty, sometimes you just need to, like, as a football club, just think, right, 6 months, maybe. West Ham cocked up by getting Phillips on a 7-month loan or whatever it was. But it's something they thought about doing, and maybe that was something we should have just thought, we'll just give him 6 months, see how he does, all this, and bye-bye at the end of the season, because obviously we're not going to keep you here, but if you perform well, you could get a good move into something.
Yeah.
And
he's like you've just said there, for 6 months, and if he's playing, he might just say, for instance, he played another 4 games in total with his minutes. It puts him in the shop window to get him a better move. Like that's Isaac, because he's went across the water there, and nobody even knew who he was playing for or watching him. Do you know? And again, where I'm looking at for Isaac Hayden is our youth system, and what you look at our results might have been absolutely atrocious for years. And when you go across the big, like, and people say, let's take a chance on the young ones, bringing them in. If you look at the Man Cities and the Man Uniteds and the Liverpools, right, they'll bring young'uns in that are nearly at first team level. Now we'll bring young'uns in at our football club where they're nowhere near of what we want to be, and we're just starting now. We've actually had to sign the players because our youth system and our academies, we're kind of what Sunderland's been. Do you know I mean the best players around this area came out of Sunderland's academy, not ours, and that's a frustrating thing. So to give you your belief in you coming into that first team, I know Eddie Howe likes to have the youth around, but if you're on that bench, you should be nearly ready to go onto that team. So
I am sick and tired of saying to people, Give youth a chance, right? Have you watched any of our under 23 games?
Unbelievable.
No, I haven't. Right. So who would you bring in? Oh, I don't know, but they must be good enough.
Don't know.
They're fucking not. They're not. If they were good enough, you would know who they are. You would know their names. You would know they were flying in the 23s. Our under 23s is so bad. They're nowhere near Premier League elite level. The only people who are Alfie Harrison because we bought him from Man City, and there's nobody else I know who's in the under 20 other than Miley, who's obviously excelled. But there's not that many.
And this is what I said to you, Baz, when we're saying Harrison. I says, I hope he's around the first team because I hope he doesn't rot being around the 23s because imagine a season being down there. You know yourself, if you're a top player, you imagine putting Lionel Messi and MK Dons. No disrespect to MK Dons, but Lionel Messi will just not be at a level where he will be at if he was playing for Barcelona. Now, Alfie Harrison's came with. I mean, we spoke to the lad from Manchester City about Harrison, and he goes, there was 2 players that Pep wanted, and the other ones went to Chelsea.
Yeah,
Palmer, and he was behind Palmer. So these are the ones that were pushing it to get into the first team. Now, he turned around and says that you've got an absolutely exceptional footballer. My worry is if he's going to be around the 23s, how long will he become an exceptional footballer before he's? Do you know what I'm trying to say here? I'm just hoping he get pushed forward into the first team to be around top players, and then we'll see the best of Harrison.
I wouldn't be as confident if Eddie hadn't promoted Miley, and because he's promoted Miley.
Do you think that was desperation though, because we were that screwed?
Possibly.
I don't think we would have seen Miley at all this season had we had like Tonali and all them lot and not the injuries that we had. I don't think we would have even seen them.
Possibly. No idea. But you're probably right. But regarding Alfie Harrison, I mean, look, I don't know the kid. I'm just going off videos and stuff like that I've seen. But I think Man City have put
off what the Man City lads told us.
Yeah. Man City put a sell-on clause, a ridiculous sell-on clause of 30% or something.
Yeah. So that tells you.
So Man City think they've got something. Man City seem to be getting rid of youngsters who they like to help with whatever they're doing. If I don't know, they didn't seem like they need help with their feet to me, but that looks like what they're doing to me, i.e. Cole Palmer, for example.
Man City are very clever. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not stupid, and this is why they're putting massive sell-on clauses in. And look, I'm one of those. I love giving youth a chance and stuff like that, but it's got to be the right youth. You can't just throw anybody in. And I mean, like I said, I knew Lewis Miley was a decent player when I watched him at the beginning of the season, and we're sorting pre-season as well. And I just, you know what it is? I want Eddie to give these players, especially this pre-season, where we'll go to America, wherever we go, take Harrison with you, take Menta with you, take these young kids and let's see them. Yeah, let's see them. Let's see what they're like. Give them 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like he did with Miley in pre-season. And I'm with you, Divin make them rotten the freaking. Because you know what it is? Playing with, because there's some shite they used to. Like, because, I mean, some of the results, I mean, we got beat 8-0 the other week, I think.
Yeah.
And
it was against Chelsea, wasn't it?
But people like Alfie Harrison and Senesai and I think Leo Shaw and people like that, these lads are only going to get better training with people like Bruno Guimaraes. They're not going to get better training with, like, people who are completely below average, who are worse than Paul Dunn. And it's like I'm with you, and you've got to, like, be careful with them, but you need to, like, if they're good enough. I mean, Wayne Rooney was dominating World Cups at 17. So if they're good enough, they need to come up.
Wasn't he?
Glad you've said that.
Yeah, but if I know they're saying, I mean, look at what Ferguson did, man. I know they were a special bunch, but like he promoted them, and if these players are good enough, get them up. And I think we've got a few. I think we've got a few who are good enough. And they're good enough to come in and replace Gordon and stuff. Yeah, no, of course they're not. But They're good enough to be on the bench in an injury crisis. I mean, I'm with Ian here. Joe White was playing League Two football at the beginning of the season, and then he got brought along, and then Eddie says he's a fantastic young talent, but we never see him, and he's always on the bench. And I don't know. He's 20. How old's Joe right now? 21 or something? 20, 21?
21, 22, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're such a fantastic footballer, I mean, I'm not dissing the kid at all, but surely we would have heard a bit more about him now than at 21.
When you would hear him, if he was that good, you'd hear him being talked in the same breath as Miley, wouldn't you?
I mean, Eddie put, I mean, I'm not slating Eddie here, but Eddie put a couple of youngsters on the bench against Everton, and one of them's actually away in the summer with a contract. That I didn't understand.
Yeah, there you go.
And
it just tells you.
Diallo, yeah.
3-1.
Why do that? 3-1.
Yeah.
Why not put Harrison on the bench? Yeah, you've got no intention of bringing him on, but give the lad experience what it's like being at Newcastle on a match day sitting on the bench.
I thought Harrison
it's not going to harm. And
hasn't Ben
done that? And there's a few, but
you what, Ian?
Hasn't Ben Parkinson been on loan to South Shields?
Possibly. I don't know.
I'm almost certain Ben Parkinson's been on loan to South Shields for a month. I might be wrong, mind, but I'm sure he's been on loan to South Shields.
Which is again, standard's not great. Right, we need to get near the end of the show. Yeah, South Shields is like right down there. It's like here's the stats from the game. He had 17 shots, 6 on target, 58% of possession. Passing accuracy was good at 82%. I mean, Everton didn't really bring a lot, but they battled for it, didn't they? Really, in the end, it got really tiring near the end of the night. Here's Superfan Dan in his Diacro Metallica Magpies t-shirt. If you want one, get the link below. Absolutely fantastic. And this was the last picture of the night before we spread off. I don't like doing selfies, but there you go. That was outside Rosie's bar to top the night off. It was just fantastic. I just loved every minute of it. Man of the match, boys, Dan Burn. For us, it was superb.
For me, I thought Bruno was exceptional. And one person that we haven't spoke about tonight, I thought Anderson had a very good game in all mine.
Yeah, well, Anderson did all right.
Yeah, I thought he had a very good game. He played on the front foot, broke things up. I thought he'd done all right. I thought the two central defenders were very, very good, Shaw and Byrne. But Byrne was man of the match for me. I thought he made some critical tackles. He was back in his normal position, which he looked more comfortable. Especially with somebody with pace alongside him, because I thought Hall contributed. And I just thought, just say shaded Bruno as man of the match for me, Byrne.
What about you, Gary? You're on mute, pal. You're on mute.
Sorry.
Hey.
There was some.
It's not just me.
Do you know what it is? It's because I've just pulled the dog out the cage, right, and he's a pain in the frigging horse, and I didn't want him like making loads of frigging noises because he's excited because he's just come out and stuff. Honestly, pain in the neck. Regarding man of the match, I thought it was a weird game for me because I thought we had some brilliant individual performances, but then there was some players who were just really poor. But I agree, Anderson, I thought had a cracking game. He did tire, and I thought Bruno was just his normal self. Isak was a threat from minute one. But I thought Dan Burn, I don't say this very often, mind, because I'm not Burn's biggest fan, right? But I thought Dan Burn was fucking superb yesterday. And it's the best I've seen him.
As a left centre back.
Yeah, it's exactly. And it's no coincidence to me that he has his best game he's had for a frigging long time and he's at centre back. And
it's also against a team who were lobbing the ball forward a lot. So it played
exactly.
to his advantage.
And he lead it up. And
yeah.
I thought, I mean, at times yesterday, it was great watching him. It looked like the old Dan Burner last night. And I think as the game went on, he was getting more confident. And I tell you what, nobody wanted to win that game more than
He scored as
him
well,
and
didn't he?
Dan
It was
Burn,
offside. It
mate.
was a
Bruno and Dan
nightmare.
Burn, sorry. And it was just phenomenal to watch him back to his best. Because he's got a lot of stick this season. I've given him stick, and just to myself and in a group, and I didn't take it online, but I'll complain about him and myself and stuff. But unbelievable.
Yeah, he was
unbelievable. Man of the match for me. Fantastic.
I agree. I'm trying to think what. Yes, next show Friday night. Look ahead. Who we're playing?
Fulham.
Fulham away.
Fulham
That's
away.
right, we are playing Fulham away, aren't we? I've been looking at other games further and further ahead to try and get things sorted tonight, mate. So we'll do that.
One game
at a time, I know. It's going to be interesting trying to pick the team for it. Don't forget the subscribe button. Membership open. If you want to become a member, you get put into a prize draw. Amazing prizes. Don't forget about Diet Crow. 20% off. Link is in the description, along with football prizes. You haven't got a next raffle up yet. I'm waiting to find out what that is, so you all know what it will be. But just keep an eye out. We'll be back on Friday. Thanks to Ian. Thanks to Gary, as always. It's been a pleasure. We've gone on a lot longer than I expected. We love going off on tangents, don't we? But yeah, just an incredible. I can't wait to see John and Dan. We're back on the channel. It was great to meet them in person for the second time I've met John, first time I've met Dan. They are planning on hopefully coming back over for the Brighton game, which is the last home game of the season. So get that in your diaries if you want to meet them in town. We will be doing that. So yeah, just what a pleasure it was to meet them, and two absolute fantastic, outstanding guys. So we'll sign off on that. Good night, everyone.
Night, folks.